Good morning and welcome back. Today we're gonna get into it. We're gonna get deep into it. Today we're talking about starting. We're talking about starting something. We're talking about starting a business. We're talking about starting a job, starting a career, starting a new relationship, starting every single thing about starting. We're talking about that today. How difficult it is to start, how difficult it is to start, and why people don't start. A lot of people have dreams, they have goals, they have ambitions that they want to achieve in life, but they don't start. So we're going to be getting into that today. We're going to be getting deep into it, and I'll tell you the easiest ways to start, what you can do to get started right now. So I want to tell you about me and public speaking. I was one of the people in school, in high school, primary school, high school. I was one of the people, I was the most quiet person. I was the most quiet person. Primary school and early high school, I was the most quiet person. If there were unprepared speeches being given, prepared speeches even being given, I was the last one to give that prepared speech. I was always the one in the back, trying to hide when we were asked questions. So that was me for a long time. I grew up that way. I grew up that way. But things changed for me. Things changed for me after high school. After I did my fine art, things changed and life took a turn for the worse for me. I found myself broke. I found myself unemployed. I found myself depressed. And I got into personal development. I got into this personal development. When I got into this personal development, I decided, you know what, my life can change. I decided to change my life. My life changed. But that's a story for another day. My life changed. And when my life changed, to see how dramatically my life changed in about 3 years, my life changed completely. It changed completely in about 3 years. My life changed completely. I started businesses. I started having more self-confidence. I had low self-esteem. I started having more self-confidence. And then I decided, you know what I went through, what I learned during this journey of trying to change my life, of going from being depressed to being happy, of going from being broke to owning a business. I decided I need to tell those stories. I decided that I need to tell those stories. People need to hear those stories. People need to learn how to get out of these things. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to tell my stories. But I was the person who I was afraid of speaking to people. I was very, very afraid. A lot of us are afraid of speaking. I'm one of those people. I'm very, very much afraid of speaking to people. I was very, very much afraid of speaking to people. I could not stand up and speak to a crowd. I just stuttered up, and that was it for me. It was very, very awkward for me to tell even a story, even on video. It was very, very hard to record myself and watch myself. It was cringe. I was cringing every time I watched myself. But I decided, you know what, I need to learn because people need to hear these stories. And they don't want to hear weak stories. They need to hear transformational stories. They need to hear the real story. I cannot just be going to the crowd and umming and ohing. I need to tell a story that people will change. I need to tell a story that will get people motivated. I need to tell a story that will get people inspired to change their lives as well. So I decided to get into it. I decided to study. I got into videos of public speaking. I got books on public speaking. And the most important thing, I decided to try and go and speak. Because all those books, all those videos, they did nothing. Because on the first day, there was we have a hiking group, the Makanda Wild Hikers crew. We decided to do for charity. It was World Read Aloud Day, so I decided to volunteer. I'm gonna read aloud to these kids. We had three preschools that we were reading to. The first preschool we went to, there were three of us, and there's three preschools. The first preschool we went to, okay, who's gonna read the first story? Who's gonna read the first story to these kids? And I ducked down. I did not want. I was not ready. So the first guy went and he read the story. The second preschool came. Okay, now who's gonna read? There's only two of us left now, and there's only two preschools. Okay, now who's gonna read to the second one? I dug down again. I was not ready. I was afraid. My heart was beating out of my chest. I could not speak to these children. And they were kids, young kids, small children, preschool kids. The second guy did it, did a great job. And now it came the third time. When we were approaching that preschool, my heart was beating. I cannot tell you. I cannot even make it was beating out of my chest, out of my chest. But I decided, you know what? I said I wanted to get into publishing. This is the best way I will do it. This is the best way I will do it. So I went there, I stood up, took my book. I just looked at the book, I read. I read and read and read. And you know what? What I love about kids, what I love about talking to kids, they will give you immediate feedback. Kids will give you immediate feedback. If you are boring them, they will give you immediate feedback. It's not like adults where they can just keep quiet and withstand that. Kids will tell you. Kids will tell you. So the kids were restless. They were doing this. The teacher was trying to quieten them down because I was boring them out of their skulls. This is preschool kids here. And I was so afraid. So that was my first speech ever that I decided to do. But you know what? I decided that's out of the way. That first speech is out of the way. Now I can get to learn. Now I can learn. I have those nerves. I have that embarrassment out of the way. Now I can learn. Second speech was awful as well. Third speech was awful. Fourth speech was awful. Fifth speech was awful. But I decided to go. I decided to go. You see, that the most important part, is getting started. It's realizing that your first speech will be awful. Your first business will fail. Everything that you attempt for the first time, it will be awful. There's a quote that I love by Les Brown. Les Brown says, you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. For me, it worked. It worked. I'm recording YouTube videos every single day now. I'm recording TikToks every single day now. I'm talking. I gave a speech at a school talking about drugs and drug abuse. I had everyone crying there. Everyone was just in their emotions. The teachers were crying. The students were crying. I was crying. So that is how powerful starting is. That is how powerful starting is. You must realize that you can never do a great thing if you don't start. Whatever you're thinking about starting, if you're thinking about starting a business, if you're thinking about starting public speaking as well, people need those stories. We need more motivational speakers because we have a lot of people who demotivate us, but we don't have a lot of people who motivate us. We need a lot of motivational speakers, and we have these stories. We can tell these stories, but we are afraid of doing that first TikTok. We are afraid of doing that first YouTube. We are afraid of doing that first speech in front of people. But that is what is going to set you free. Doing that first, getting started is the most difficult thing, but it will set you free when you are past that first embarrassment, because you must realize, I'm not here to kid you, I'm not here to play around, I'm not here to tell you that you will have a great speech the first time around. I just told you mine was awful, 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 awful. But here I am today. I'm a motivational speaker. I'm speaking without notes. I can tell stories. I love telling stories. I know stories can change lives. I know stories transform lives, which is very, very important. So we need more storytellers. If you ever wanted to start a YouTube channel, do so. Start now, because your first video will be trash. Your second video will be trash. Your third video will be trash. But get into it every single day. Get into it every single day, and you will get there. You will get there. You don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. That's the message today. That's the message today. Tell me in the comments, comment down below, what do you want to get started? What do you want to get started right now? Make it a commitment. Write it down. Type on your phone right there. What do you want to get started doing? What do you want to start doing? What do you want to get out of your system? It's very, very powerful when you know that your first talk is going to be awful, your first video is going to be awful, your first business is going to be awful. So don't expect perfection. Most of us expect perfection. Do not expect perfection in in your first endeavor. It is very, very difficult to get perfection. Nobody actually ever gets perfection on their first try. So it's very, very important to recognize that you won't get perfect in the first try. Just go out there, just start. You can have a beautiful YouTube channel, and my YouTube channel is growing. I'm getting new subscribers, I'm getting comments, I'm getting likes, I'm getting subscriptions every single day because I decided to start. You can watch you can watch my first videos. I decided not to delete these videos because I want to show you that your first video will not be it. But here I am right now. I'm on YouTube, I'm talking, I'm speaking every single day. I have speaking gigs everywhere. I change lives, I motivate people, I change lives. People are motivated by me. But because I got started, it is very, very easy. It is very, very easy to live a good life. Just get started, do the difficult things, and life will be easy for you. Life will be easy for you. Thank you so much, and see you again in the next video.